now on the road to economic recovery. Stable government policies that benefit society, innovation of work methods, management of energy, have all played a role in bringing our country to recovery. 4 years ago, we hoped for a better tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is here. Thailand is taking part in global business in a bold, new way. PTT Public Company Limited, moving Thailand forward.
Okay, as you just saw, Group 19, we're doing PTT, which is a gas, oil and petrochemical company based in Thailand. As you can see, this is their existing value chain. Their primary activities are broken up into 3 main categories: gas, oil and petrochemicals, obviously. So if I take you through each one, the gas chain, obviously working through the way from upstream all the way down to the end customer, we can see that the PTT EP, which is where they explore and produce the gas themselves, is taken along pipelines to the natural gas mix stations, which separates them. And then downstream activities include taking these to power plants, industry and PTT stations themselves. And the end products, or rather the end thing used by the customer, in this case is electricity and DCS in airports. The second part of their chain is the oil chain. The procurement stage for crude oil is cured and condensed, which then is traded and separated in a plant. The outbound logistics of this being either LPG or a lube-based plant, which either provides services for individuals or businesses as a whole. Finally, the petrochemical chain mainly is used for olefins, which is where it's originated. Then it's sent off to intermediate plants or plants, where it is refined. The end product of this being plastic resins, which are then created for export markets and the end product for the consumer. If we take the secondary activities, we can see the firm infrastructure, which has high-performance organisation structure, a control system and total quality management. Secondly, the human resource management is considered to be one of the most important things in Thailand based on their culture. We can see they have a labour protection law and State Enterprise Labour Relations Act, a career management consulting committee and a career counselling. Okay, so now that we've done the existing value chain, we're going to talk about the new value chain that we propose. The company needs to develop and invest in more advanced processes to reduce its sulphur emissions, such as the introduction of fuel gas desulfurization systems. PTT can also initiate programs to limit the sulphur content in its gas and oil products by as much as 0.1% over a period of time. This can be achieved either by voluntary action of the company or as a business proposition by broadening its product range to include products such as ultra-low sulphur and diesel. In line with extending the product range of PTT to include more green products as indicated, PTT needs to increase its focus on R&D on producing alternative sources of petroleum products by exploiting the potentials associated with the use of ethanol from such things as starch, biohydrogenated diesel, and algae, more importantly at the moment. This technology could directly be applied in the transportation of PTT products, which are outsourced to everybody else. Finally, as sunlight in Thailand is considerably high throughout the year, according to BBC Weather, PTT could implement the use of solar energy across a range of its brands or service stations as primary sources of electricity in its 1,157 nationwide gas stations, which will produce electricity and lighting and running of gas pump machines. Also, the use of biomass heating and wind-powered energy to power its offices and service stations is a promising possibility that we propose and prospect. Okay, now that I've analysed both value chains, I'm going to look at the existing and proposed value proposition. If we go for the existing value proposition first, PTT assures its customers satisfaction through high-quality products and services that meet international standards at fair prices, ensuring that its employees continually develop and progress, and that it cooperates under fair competition with trading partners. Overall, the company aims to develop long-term sustainable energy products in a socially and environmentally friendly way. PTT values encompass the following characteristics: synergy, performance, excellence, innovation, responsibility, integrity, trust and respect. Now that I've done the existing ones, I'm going to try and transcend those and go into the new value proposition. In addition to the existing PTT value propositions, we propose that PTT continue to fulfill its corporate responsibilities and obligations by continually promoting harmonious and sustainable development in society, environment and economy. We feel the key word in this value proposition is the continuous process in bringing about real positive change in every facet of the operations the company is engaged in. PTT in its new role moving towards a more sustainable company will develop a green policy detailing initiatives and programs aimed towards sustainability and efficiency, thereby creating added value to its products and services that will benefit the society, the environment, staff, stakeholders, and of course the shareholders of the company. Okay, now that I've spoken about both the existing and new value propositions, I'm going to go on and extend the resource inputs, both existing and new ones. So with the existing resource inputs, economic resources in terms of capital input and physical assets are available to PTT to conduct its business operations effectively. Other resources available to PTT include intellectual property, brand name, government grants, and regulations favourable to its operations. Okay, now that I've done the existing ones, I'm going to try and extend on that and make the new key resource inputs. We found these to be fuel gas desulfurization systems, research and development on producing alternative green products, investment in renewable energy to power PTT operation functions, employees' commitment towards sustainable development in society, environment, and of course the economy. Okay, now that I've just spoken about the key resource inputs, I'm actually going to talk about the governance mechanisms now, both the existing and the new one. PTT has applied the principles of good corporate governance to align with the international principles of the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development in enhancing its management efficiency and serving as a foundation for sustainable growth. Policies and rules were written for integrity and ethics for all staff to comply with. Amongst other factors, the documents state regulations on finance, hiring and procurement, and watertight management practices to prevent fraud in the organisation. Now that I've done the existing ones, I'm going to try and transcend those again and go to new governance mechanisms. PTT needs to emphasise its principles of corporate governance on every level of staff, not only for management. PTT will develop ethic and compliance training programs that stimulate employee conscientiousness in a daily basis of work. This will include the establishment of company's code of conducts, demonstrate leadership, monitoring system, and quick response to minimise consequences. Apart from PTT's 4 existing committees in the organisation structure, PTT will introduce Green Committee to suit the new direction of PTT toward green products. The Green Committee will audit each department or business unit in the topic of minimising the consumption of resources and emission control. The journey of transition made us as a group question our own beliefs into how PTT should or could operate. With this in mind, PTT has shown its concern in sustainability in various ways, where some are beyond environmental issues. Social concerns are the biggest part of PTT corporate social responsibility. It's invested in school buildings, promoting and supporting Thai athletes, and arts and culture. To this extent, it has been realised that social concerns must be very important to societies in developing countries where government's infrastructure is not covered thoroughly. We have come to the strengths and weaknesses of 3 initiatives. These are radical, incremental, and biodiesel trucks. The radical initiatives is based on the biofuel company itself, the strengths of this being that it creates a strong brand image to the company and support from communities, hence increased opportunities in revenue and growth. The main weaknesses we found these to be is that high upfront R&D costs and might take time to develop in each product. Okay, we're going to look at the incremental initiatives now, which are the efficiency concepts we came up with. This being the solar energy in gas stations and factories. The main strengths of this concept would be that it saves cost of electricity used in normal gas stations, and for PTT themselves, it would be the first step into solar energy, which would lead to potential product portfolio in the foreseeable future. The main weaknesses being that sunlight intensity in Thailand, especially in the rainy season, might not be enough to generate sufficient electricity, obviously, so therefore it's dependent on weather conditions. Finally, the most recent idea we came up with was the idea of biodiesel trucks. Obviously, the strengths being that in the foreseeable future they would have very low running costs themselves, but initial startup costs and R&D would be extremely high. So to conclude from all of this, what we found is that adopting radical initiatives in converting an oil company such as PTT into a biofuel company would be sustainable in the long term due to scarcity of fossil fuels, especially in Thailand. This is because they don't own much resources in oil, but rather agricultural resources. Electric cars might be another option that we saw for the foreseeable future for PTT.